2011 alum of the RYLA program, and she's here today to share with us a little bit about her process and her experience with RYLA and in her life. Alexis is a student at the University of Pittsburgh, where she's completed her sophomore year. She's studying finance and marketing. She got a very difficult to get position this summer at the Burns & Burns Insurance Agency. So congratulations on that, Alexis. Alexis is, as you all might imagine, also very active around the University of Pittsburgh's campus, involved with service fraternities and leadership organizations, the Pitt Program Council, as well as being vice president of the American Marketing Association. Alexis has described her experience at RYLA as life-changing. She says even more life-changing than the excellent weekly sermons given by her pastor. And so, my friends, it is my privilege to introduce to you Alexis Burns.
Thank you for such a kind introduction, Pastor Scott. Before I begin, I would like to thank Truman Mills for inviting me to speak today. It's such an honor to be able to be given the opportunity to speak on a topic that is so very close to my heart. So I'd like to begin today by asking the future RYLArians in front of me if you could raise your hands and tell me what you've heard about RYLA so far. Yes?
That you can use it in your day-to-day life.
Okay.
Throughout your adulthood, I guess.
Okay. Has anybody else heard anything? Yes?
Not to copy what you said, but life-changing, over the course of a week, you become almost a different person.
Wonderful. Well, when I was in your position, I was incredibly curious about RYLA and wanted to inquire as much information as I possibly could. So I asked multiple people, but I received surprisingly similar results. They all said that RYLA was going to be life-changing. Now, this wasn't a negative response by any means that made me have any apprehension or any anxiety, but part of me was hoping for a little bit more detail of what I could expect, a little bit further explanation. But then I remembered how a close friend of mine once told me to believe none of what you hear, half of what you see, and 100% of what you experience. And this resonated very true for me with RYLA. So my goal today is not to tell you a day-by-day schedule of what your week will consist of at RYLA, but to open your eyes to the amazing effects that RYLA can have on your life and on your future. I can't say what each and every one of you will learn and will experience, but what I can tell you is that you will get out of the experience as much as you put into it. So if you open yourself up, enter the week with a completely open mind, and are willing to share and to get out of your comfort zone, the possibilities for your growth and your takeaways are endless. So one of the biggest takeaways that I had from RYLA, in addition to the leadership skills, was networking. And this wasn't one that I was necessarily anticipating. Now, I'm sure you all have attended a summer camp or two in your lifetime. And when you go to summer camp, you make great friends, and by the end of the week, you're sad to say goodbye to them. But a few weeks go on, and it's hard to stay in contact with these people. And despite with the busy life schedules and going back to the normalcy of life. Well, RYLA for me was completely different. The day I got home from RYLA, there was already a Facebook page established for a specific group of students where we can communicate as frequently as we wanted to. And let me tell you, we communicated quite frequently. And even 3 years later, my fellow RYLArians and I post updates on our lives of what is going on and how we've been able to apply the lessons we've learned at RYLA in our day-to-day lives. This way, we still feel incredibly connected to one another and still have that strong bond. So, my future RYLArians, take a good look at the individuals sitting around you today. After this week at RYLA, you will have a special bond that no one will ever understand. It is something that I can't put into words, and it's just indescribable, but it is so special. I have so many stories that I can tell you about my experiences at RYLA and with my encounters after RYLA with my RYLarians. Just a few weeks ago, I was driving home from the airport and wanted to stop at the Grove City Outlets because Vera Bradley was having this big sale. And to my surprise, one of the students that I attended RYLA with happened to work there. And I had not seen her since the closing ceremony at RYLA, but when I saw her, the connection was still as prominent as ever, and we were able to pick up right where we left off, which was pretty special. Now, shifting gears back a few years to high school, it is tradition that every Friday night football game, the band officers come together and we have a little meeting. And it's a little bit awkward because those people from each school tend to only talk to the people from their own school. But after RYLA, this definitely was not the case for me at all, because I found that many of the RYLarians that I attended RYLA with were also band officers. And so this was a great opportunity for me to talk and catch up, and we could embrace and keep that connection strong. I remember what it was like in high school and how difficult it is to remove those barriers that you have and make friends and keep those friends with people from other schools. And you know what? RYLA has a way of removing these obstacles and these rivalries and illustrating how, despite our different life experiences, our different appearances, and our different interests, that deep down inside, we truly are very similar, which oftentimes can be obstructed by these surface level differences. Two of my great friends from RYLA who attended Keystone High School happened to work at CVS and Eaton Park. And so every time I go into these establishments, I see them, and it just makes me so happy to be able to catch up with them. It's really nice to see them in my day-to-day activities. And one of these individuals actually, just a week ago, sent me a message out of the blue and just wanted to say, hey, I was thinking of you and I hope everything's going well, which was so kind and so thoughtful. And this really is an accurate representation, I feel, of the character of the students that attend RYLA. Now, my roommate at RYLA happened to have the same love for Pitt back then that I did. And I knew this before I even met her. So I walk into our dorm room and I see a Pitt bedspread on her bed. And I knew from that point forward that we were going to be great friends. But little did I know that 3 years later, we would both be attending the University of Pittsburgh and still be having our weekly dinners together and be great friends. And going into freshman year, I was a little bit apprehensive because I didn't know anybody at Pitt. But just knowing that Elena was in that same process with me was so reassuring and calming, because not only were we great friends, but we had that RYLA bond and had that special outlook on life that was so special and that nobody else could understand. So in closing, you get out of life what you put into it, and that rings incredibly true for your experience at RYLA. So I urge you to take full advantage of this opportunity. Get out of your comfort zone and get the absolute most of this experience as you possibly can. If your experience is anything like mine was, you will be so sad to leave by the end of the week, but you will be leaving a changed person, ready to take on life's challenges, to be the best person you can be, and to feel energized to make a difference in the world with your newfound skills and outlook on life. RYLA truly is life-changing. Thank you.